Okay, welcome to Fahrenheit Performance Podcast, episode number 8, lucky 8. Today we have the man, the myth, the legend, Boon Kiak. I think you like to go by Boon, most people know as Boon, right?
Yep.
Team Singapore cyclist, Sea Games cyclist. We'll talk a bit about that later.
Yep.
Why don't you introduce yourself, Boon, about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Martin. I'm 35 years old this year. I am husband to my beautiful wife, Kimberly, father to my incredible son, Kai, who's 2.5, and a 10-year-old dog, Gladys. I am working full-time as a podiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
I run a private practice called PodiatryQuest.
Yep. We
help patients and people with foot and lower limb problems, and we treat them, and hopefully they stay pain-free, and they're able to move and walk around and do what they like. On the cycling front, as you have alluded to, I have represented Singapore 3 times at the Southeast Asian Games.
Mm-hmm.
Once in 2019, the second time in 2021, and the third time was last year in 2023. And my best result was third at the Criterium event in 2023 in Vietnam in 2020. Sorry, best result was 2021. Sorry, in Vietnam.
Which is actually in 2022.
Exactly, because of COVID. Right.
I want to talk to you about podiatry, but I think that will be a really big can of worms. So I think we'll come back another time and talk just podiatry with Belinda, and we'll do a foot episode or something, because if we talk podiatry, we'll be 2 hours long.
We'll stay till midnight.
Yeah, I know, right? So tell me, you've been doing cycling for 15 years, close to 15 years now, like competitively?
Yeah, almost 15. I started when I was 22.
Okay.
Yeah, I started riding bikes when I was 22.
Why did you start riding bikes?
To be frank, ever since when I was a little kid, I just loved riding bikes around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I think any cyclist can attest to the joy and thrill you have. It sounds cliche. A little kid going downhill, you wind in your hair.
Yeah, core memories are made like that, right?
Yeah, and it's just the pure joy of cycling. You're not competing for anything. You're not trying to win anything. It's just the pure love of the bike.
I think when you're a kid, cycling becomes your escape, and you can travel such great distances without being tired. And
exactly. Yeah, and I used to like riding around the block, and then I was just doing it for leisure, and then when I went to secondary school and junior college or whatever, I played competitive table tennis. Not many people actually know this. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was actually...
Did you do DSA table tennis? Or?
I did DSA table tennis.
Oh, nice.
So it's purely for educational reasons.
Yeah.
But also, I did enjoy the sport as well. But it's obviously night and day compared to cycling. And then...
is there anything that you brought over from table tennis to cycling, like concentration or skill or hand-eye coordination or...
Interesting you say that, actually. I think the journey I had playing table tennis, I wasn't very good at it at the start. But the journey as to how I basically train as hard as I could from a young age, consistency, basically gave me the right values and lessons to possibly do well in cycling.
Yeah.
And that's purely by my own personal experience with table tennis. And so that was that. But when I got to the age of 18, in NS, towards the tail end of our NS with a couple of friends, we had a bit of money from NS, and we just saw people riding bikes along the road one day, and we're like, man, let's go get some bikes and ride around.
So what was your first bike?
It was a Merida, an aluminum Merida, too small for me. So that's
52.
Yeah, it's a 52 basically.
Okay.
Spot on. I'm actually 56, so it's like 2 sizes smaller. So I was cramped up, but I loved it, and funny enough, the guys who I started riding with, they actually stopped riding, and I was the only one who has continued to this point, purely also because of the journey I've had. Yeah. And I think they had a few crashes, and they were a bit psyched out of it.
So you started cycling before you moved to Australia?
Yes. So I started riding in Singapore just along the roads, your regular crunchy loops, going out to Pongo, and at the time it was just forested, and Seletar Camp was actually a camp. Those who have cycled long enough can actually remember that. And then when I moved to Australia to do a degree in podiatry, that's when I really picked it up. because of the environment, terrain, it's more open land.
And I think that, like in Australia, when I was living in America as well, there's like a race every single weekend. Sometimes there's a Saturday race and a Sunday race, so you can pick up races all whenever you want. Whereas here, Tour of Batam, and everybody goes there, and then Tour Phuket, everybody goes there. It's so much different.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that also kicked off the competitive side of my journey of cycling. And it also contributed to my passion and my interest in cycling, purely because, like you said, the grassroots racing scene there is amazing. You know, you can eat, like in summer, which is the best time of the year in Australia. It's bright till 9 o'clock. You can almost race every night of the week along crit circuits within the city. So you if you're working, you're in uni, which is what I was doing. You go to class and then you head back after your classes and you jump on your bike. You ride down half an hour, which is a warm up to a crit course, and then you just bang out. Which is
normally an old industrial estate or something like that, right?
Or the one I used to go to, which is the Hawthorne Cycling Club. Those who know Melbourne well, they have it on Kew Boulevard within the city, and it's just the infamous teardrop circuit, and it's the hardest crit course in Melbourne because it's a little hill. It's pretty much a hot dog, but it goes up the hill and it comes down the back. And you come down to the hairpin and
so you hairpin at the bottom of the hill and then you go up again.
You blast up again. So actually, the last I was doing it in 2023 last year, Calvin and I, Calvin's a national cyclist as well. We went back to Melbourne for training, and I did the Melbourne this same crit course that I did. I almost forgot how hard it was, but when I look at my numbers after that, I normalized for those numbers. Those geeks, power geeks out there. I normalized 411. For 45 minutes. Yeah. So it's proper hard. 411 watts for 45 minutes.
That's FTP of like 390 or 380 or something.
Yeah. It's a full 1 hour effort, and obviously it's gonna be varied because of the nature of the course. You just blasting out of the corner at 1,000 watts, over 1,000 watts, and then it's a downhill, so you're kind of coasting out the back, and then you're blasting up.
But some people think that those sort of courses it's the uphill that is hard. Sometimes it's the downhill that's hard because you've shelled everyone off the uphill and you're trying to make as much gap as you can on the downhill. So everyone, you don't coast. It's not like you coast down the hill and then you go up the hill again. You're gunning it down.
Yeah. So your heart rate is always high, and you sort of it's repeated sprints basically. And basically that was my first race right there. I can still remember it. I was in C grade. I at that point I was really riding a little bit because just out of interest, and I was placed second in my first crit race. And then the handicapper, the commissar was like, "Great, you're second. Next week, B grade. Off you go."
So in Australia they have C grade, which is like the beginners, right? And then B grade, and then A grade is the very good. Is there a higher than A grade? Is that semi-pro or NRS? Is NRS above A? Officially above A grade.
Yeah. So within the club, A grade is the highest. So if you are like Tadej Pogacar, you rock up to the club, you race A grade. It's just the where.
So it's like the catch-all for all the pros or pros.
But if you want to rank them, obviously a club A grade standard would not be as high as a state A grade race, and a state A grade race will not be as high as a national road series race, right? Because just purely because it's national, state, and then club. And on the
so you showed up the next week in your B grade.
And I was just hooked, because every week you just race, you basically pick up all the little skills, and you just buzzing to go again.
And when you're racing that often, you don't feel bad when you have a bad race. You
exactly.
Pick yourself up and then have another next week.
And I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned unknowingly, right? Is that you just never afraid to try. You're never afraid of looking bad, because it's not like one race a year and then you're like, I have to show off, I have to do well.
Got to get in the break.
Correct, I have to get in the break, I have to get a result, and you don't have that pressure in yourself, which then actually ironically prevents you from performing and being a better cyclist. So basically you rock up one race and you try to nail a corner and do a long range attack. If it doesn't work out, you figure out why. And then you learn the lessons. You might try something different the next time.
Sit in the pack the whole time.
And then so you mix it up and you just learn so quickly. Then your learning curve is just exponential at that point. So I basically did that, and I slowly worked my way up from C grade to B grade to A grade, and soon I was within a few months actually I was in A grade, and I was just loving the competitive aspect, just making friends. It was it was as much of a social thing as it was a competitive thing.
And somehow you found yourself on the African Wildlife Safari cycle.
Yeah. So
what is that? What was that?
It's still the best jersey I've worn.
You still have it?
I still have it actually.
Nice.
It's got a big line out the front, emblazed with red and yellow livery. It's an awesome jersey. Because they are an African Wildlife Safaris travel agency, right?
Yep. And that was a NRS.
Yeah, so they were the sponsors.
Which is like pro Conti team.
Yeah, so a Conti. So they were at Conti level. So basically, I won a state level race, and I think at that time the team was just forming.
Yep.
So I got a notable result, and they reached out to me and said, "Hey, will you be interested in joining the team?"
Yep.
Which I was more than happy to. Not knowing I was going to get into, because the jump from club level racing to the National Road Series is quite a big jump.
Yeah.
Because you're competing across the board with all over Australia, and you have riders who were Australian riders who were competing in Europe, or even like international riders, competing in Europe who have come back and racing the National Road Series, and then you have like talented junior upstarts that were racing and trying to learn the ropes, So when I was the Australian scene has produced like a whole
there's a disproportionate number of high level athletes,
many athletes have come out of the National Road Series of the recent years, and they've gone to the World Tour straight from the National Road Series. By the time when I was there, it was still quite an unknown concept where you can step from the National Road Series to the World Tour.
So when is this? This is
2012. So I did 2 seasons, 2012 and 2013. And the 2 seasons.
And you're still a full-time student.
Full-time student. More of a part-time student and a full-time cyclist, if you want to put it that way. But yes, I was a full-time student. Doing podiatry, and then just racing my bike in my free time.
So how much is involved? How much training were you doing back then for that sort of team?
Yeah, so actually not that much, because I was racing a lot. So I think that's where you got the intensity.
So the racing will I guess add into the hours, right?
Correct. So I was probably doing anything from 15 to 20 hours with racing included, and because of the racing, it's a natural interval session, and it was just gives you the right stimulus to get fitter. So basically the rest of the time you're trying to recover, and then you're just racing again. We do like tours within the National Road Series, which were 6 to 7 days, 5 days. So
I guess it's mostly up the East Coast, right?
Up the East Coast, yeah. So we went within Victoria actually. So Victoria, where Melbourne is actually quite a it's the capital of cycling in Australia, if you like to put it that way. So most of the races I was doing were within Victoria, but I travelled up to Tasmania once, to Perth, went up to Toowoomba in Queensland. Did a few races there. It was awesome, man. Yeah. And those 2 seasons when I was there, the stars of those 2 seasons within the NRS were Nathan Haas and Steve Von Hoff.
They both became pros.
With the Garmin, started a Garmin Sharp, and then the next year in 2013 was Nathan Earl, who went the Team Sky, and now he's racing for Team Yuko in Japan. And Jack Haig. Who's still now in Bahrain Victorious, World Tour team.
Were they in your team, or they were in the
NRS? No,
you're competing against them.
They were the ones drilling at the front, and I was the one that's just the victim of the. I was the nail over the hammer. There was the story for most of the races.
So then, So when did you finish your podiatry?
I finished in 2014.
Okay, so you 2 years, then 14. Did you come straight back to Singapore, or did you work in Australia for a while?
No, so I was on a scholarship actually. So I was racing on government money, which I suppose you could say I paid back with, in terms of my cycling exploits later down the road. So don't feel bad if you're seeing this, the Singapore government.
And you worked for the government for.
And I did, So I was on a scholarship. So I was I came back, and I was having to work. I was bonded, right? And I had to come back and fulfill my bond. And work in the government hospital for a period of 5 years, and I ended up staying for 7.5. So so when I came back from Australia, I took a bit of a break with cycling. I stopped riding for a period of 1.5 to 2 years.
Any reason? Just because of culture shock of being back and then adjusting and cycling in Singapore is different.
To be fair, to be 100% honest, I just wanted to be a normal person.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a normal young adult, right?
Well, that didn't work out.
I just wanted to
in the same place.
Just wanted to go out. Not. I'm not saying that this was. I regret. Obviously, I don't regret any of it. But sometimes as an athlete, you can't go out and have beers. You can't stay up late. You can't party every young adult did. So I kind of missed out a little bit on that, and I wanted to just not. I just wanted to just let go a little bit.
Yeah, it didn't have to be accountable for everything.
Yeah. So, which I actually so I did that for a while, but I was still racing. I did a tour of Bintan.
Yeah, I think I met you the first time at Tour of Bintan. I remember because Belinda and I, we had a booth.
Yeah.
And we were sitting in the booth, and no one was talking to us because when you show up to races, we're giving free taping, and no one wanted free taping because no one wanted to show injury. You show up to a race and you've got a taping on your leg, and everyone's going to attack you for the leg or whatever, right? So then you came up, big buffy hair. I think your hair was almost shoulder length, or it was long.
Yep.
And then you said, "Oh yeah," and Belinda already knew you. I didn't know you.
Yeah.
And you said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to try my best today." And you said, "I want to try to get in the break," or something like that. Okay, good luck to you. You're in Cat A grade. Or
Cat 1 back then they call it.
Cat 1, and then we caught up again later, and you said, "Yeah, you got in the break, and now you're third overall." I'm like, who's this guy with buffy hair, and suddenly he's third overall?
Yeah. So I was basically not riding much at all. I think I was doing 8 hours a week of riding, and I was just doing a little bit. It's more consistent training, leading up to Tour Bintan, and just lucked out and finished third overall.
Well, you got the race acumen, you got the base, you know what to do.
Yeah.
And just
so I was going through cycles back then. So because I was kind of dabbling in cycling, and I met a few good friends here. I was and they wanted me to race because of my history, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll race. So I'll go through cycles of trying to ride more for 3 months, and then to the Tour of Bintan, for example, and then I'll stop riding for 3 months, and then do 3 months again.
That's sort of what I do now.
For 3 months I'll be going out and staying late out, partying, and then going back, and then deciding okay, that's too much. I need to try to get some form of routine, and I still innately enjoyed riding my bike, so I'll go back into a bit of a training cycle, and then do some sort of a regional race or whatever race. So it's kind of ebbing and flowing that way. Yeah.
So
for some time.
Bintan was it 2016?
16, yeah.
2016.
Yeah.
But then fast forward a few years, you. I was just looking at your stats. So Road Champ 2022, ITT 2021. But I think it's your consistency that's better. You were second 2023, 2019, 2018 for the road, as well as
2012, 2013.
Yeah.
Don't forget that one.
I saw that 2012, 2013 as well. So from being high level, taking a couple of years off, and then building back up to that.
Yeah.
How did that long build take? How long does it take to get back into form and to be where you want it to be again?
Yeah, so I just started being competitive again, not out of wanting to do the SEA Games or wanting to do anything. It was just basically I had a bunch of mates, and I just enjoyed riding and racing with them again.
Yep.
And
are they still riding that?
Yeah. Some of them have moved back to, because a couple of them are expats, so they moved on to other countries, and we still keep in touch. But at the point, it was just me enjoying the bike and just enjoying the competition of it, and not really thinking much. Just enjoyed riding my bike hard and winning something. If you we're gonna put it away, and then just having a laugh about it. And you could say one thing led to another.
Yeah. So when you're building back up again, how much training in hours were you doing a week?
10 to 11, 12.
Yeah,
just be more consistent, and knowing also a little bit how to train. And I think actually the muscle memory part played a big role in that my the years I was racing in Australia. Surprising, I was also a bit surprised how quickly it came back. In that I suppose I didn't have to do that much training to be competitive.
Yeah.
Within the regional or even the club level regional scene here. And then I decided that I suppose where it got more serious was that in 2018, after I finished second at the nationals to Chun Huat, right? Adrian, who's the national coach, then approached me and said, "Look, would you like to do the SEA Games of 2019?"
Yeah.
And I thought that, man, that sounds cool. So like, once in a lifetime experience, right? I would have
not once in a lifetime, 3 times in your lifetime.
Exactly, man. So that's kind of come back to bite me a little bit, but I just wanted to have the experience and wanted to just give it my best shot.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, cool, I'll do it, and I did. And
so getting ready for SEA Games 2019. You're going from 12 hours a week. Did it ramp up to 15, 20 hours a week? How your first SEA Games, right?
Correct. Yeah. So the course on the 2019 SEA Games was in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
We finished it started on top of the volcano. You went down to the bottom of the crater and you raced up the volcano. So it's a mountaintop finish. And I knew from the start I didn't have a chance, right?
Yeah. Because you're not really a climber, right?
No, I'm not a climber. Let me look at me, right? I'm like a big boy. But I just wanted to go in and just give my best shot, and I wanted to help the team win something, And at that point, Chun Huat was one of the best climbers in Southeast Asia, and he was on a red hot year that year. Before the SEA Games, I think he won the best Southeast Asian jersey at the Tour of Indonesia. So he was a real medal winning chance. And at that point, we have not won a medal on the road cycling front for 30 years or something.
Oof.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, to the back of my mind, I just wanted to play a part in trying to get the best result possible. So I actually decided that, look, I'm gonna take a bit of a pause with my job as a podiatrist in the hospital and train full time, because I knew from my history intuitively like what it took to be competitive at a high enough level. Within, we're talking about regional level, which is basically like a Conti level. So the kind of commitment it takes just to do the hours, the training, the recovery. So I wanted to give it, because it was once in a lifetime thing. So I said, look, I wanted to give it my best shot. So I decided that I wanted to take no pay leave for work.
So a sabbatical from your government job. So they're quite accommodating to you then.
They actually, to be frank, bent over backwards for me a little bit. I still have to thank them for that. They actually decided to still support me during the three months which I took off.
Were you still bonded at this point? So were you pausing the bond, or is it like...
No, so there was no payback with the bond, and they even decided to...
But your original 5-year bond that were you still on?
Oh, so they basically, I ended my bond.
Okay, so you'd already finished that.
Yeah, and they wanted to actually, they actually still supported me with salary during that period, so I'm super thankful to them this day.
They didn't have to do that, right?
Yeah, they didn't have to do that, and I think SCF chipped in for a month, and then they covered 2 months. So I just basically became a full-time bike rider during the 3 months. We went on training camps, went back to Melbourne again, went to Chiang Mai for training, and just basically, for me, it was just going all in, because I think that's also my character and how I approach things. I just wanted
for mortals like us, right? Why don't you just tell us about a training camp week? What would you do on a training? You go to Chiang Mai for a training camp, right?
Yeah.
Is it like Monday ride bikes, Tuesday ride bikes? Or is it hills? Or what's a typical week of a training camp look like for you guys?
Yeah, so you definitely have a program to follow, and I think the main thing in the training camp that sets apart from you doing it on a daily basis is that it's a fairly controlled environment where. It's not so much the riding that's the important part. Obviously, you would choose a spot where the riding is good, right? So that you can access multiple terrain and do more climbing or do more sprint efforts, because the roads are clearer. You don't have to contend your traffic. But I think the main part about the training camp is basically the everything out off the bike.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about get family, sounds selfish when I say this, family, a job,
all the
distractions basically, the noise, right? They call it the noise, and you can just train and recover and eat and sleep, right? And it gives you that performance boost, because you can train so much harder, you recover so much better, which feeds back into a
lot of people think that you go and you since you have 8 hours of time in the day, you'll just spend 8 hours of riding, right? But you can't do that. You've got to maybe 4 and 4 or the recovery.
Correct, yeah.
So you got recovery a little bit for us.
So the recovery is just as important as a training, right? Because like I said, if you recover better, you can basically do a bigger session the next day. The quality is better, the quantity can be better, and it involves basically just not doing anything outside riding.
It's like going for a 3-hour ride in the morning and then going for a full 8 hour of work, and then trying to do the same thing the next day. It's
dehydrated, you're tired. So basically, you just have to ride your bike, as hard as well as you can, not as hard as you can actually, as well as you can, based on the program. And then you get off the bike, you hydrate well, you fuel well, and then you just put your feet up and you just try not to move.
What's the saying? If you can don't stand, sit. If you don't sit, lie down, or something like
exactly,
that.
Yeah. If you can sit, don't stand. If you can basically lie down, don't sit.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. So then you just try to sleep as much as you can, because sleep is the core tenet of good recovery.
Yeah.
And you get up and you repeat it the next day.
So how many hours of training is a training camp?
On the bike it's about 20, and then you have strength and conditioning sessions of about an additional 3 hours on top of that. So you're doing about anything from 23 to 25. When I was doing it full time for this year's SEA Games, basically last year's SEA Games I was doing up to like 30 hours a week of training. Yeah. Just on the bike and gym.
So 2019 SEA Games, was that a success for you? Like,
yeah,
you did what you wanted to do, and
absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't win anything personally, but I felt like I did what I set out to do, in that I helped Chun Huat with played a part in Chun Huat's medal. He was third.
He got a medal.
Yeah, he was third in the road race.
Nice.
And I was in the break of the day with him, and I basically just rode as hard as I could within the break to maintain the advantage, and said bye to him at the bottom of the climb, and he took off and just extended the lead over the main peloton as much as possible. And he held on for third.
Nice.
And I felt I did my job.
Job's done, yeah.
Yeah, so I was happy that he won. He created history for Singapore, and that he won the first medal since in 30 years.
So that was just before COVID, and then fast forward 2 years, which is supposed to be the SEA Games 2021, became SEA Games 2022
because it was delayed.
But you did better in that. How run through that SEA Games for us?
Oh yeah, so basically during COVID I hardly touched my bike, because I was I think COVID affected all of us differently.
Yeah, me too. I stopped riding.
It was just the whole. It was just hard for me mentally to ride a bike, because you just leave it as that. And then Shane Bannon, who's the current high performance director, came on board, and Shane's a great guy, both on and off, in a professional setting and a personal setting. And I think you should find the time to get him on the podcast. I think it's great.
Sure.
Basically, he came on, and and the SEA Games is actually a very important thing for the local sporting scene, not just cycling, right? And I think
SEA Games in general feeds, like, if you're a table tennis player, for example, you're a table tennis, right? If you do well in SEA Games, it opens up so many other options, right?
Yeah.
So it's like regionally, if you might do great overseas, but if you come back and get a medal at SEA Games, it's huge.
Basically, in the eyes of the government, of policymakers, I think the SEA Games is one of the major games, is what they call it, apart from the Asian Games and the Olympic Games. So medaling and getting a result at the SEA Games and doing well at the SEA Games has massive impact, both individually as an athlete, but also for the sport.
Yes.
Because a lot of funding is predicated on how well the sport does at the SEA Games, whether, brutally, whether you like it or not, it's how many medals you get, right?
Yeah. And also the qualification is based on the plus SEA Games as well.
Correct.
Or something like
that.
Right?
And then you have to qualify. It's not automatic shoe-in for the SEA Games. Like, you have to qualify for the SEA Games, and then you have to do well at the SEA Games to get something out of it. So I think Shane came on board, and the first thing on his list was to do well at the SEA Games for the sport in cycling. And he just basically reached out to the athletes, and and obviously knowing my history, he wanted me to come on board and do the SEA Games. And at the time, I was actually in a bit of a transition, in that I was about to have a baby, and I was also looking, with my job as a podiatrist, I was looking to move on to a different role.
Yeah.
So I kind of tried to time it well for myself. I wanted to basically do the SEA, have my kid, right, who was born in October 2021, and then finish my role at the hospital in January, and then I signed on for a different role, which is actually this private job I'm working in now. That was supposed to be started after the SEA Games. So I was going to do the SEA Games first.
So you have a little bit of time on your hands.
Correct.
Look after the baby, train, go to the SEA Games, and then start another life after.
Correct. Yeah. So quit my job, then decided to train full time for the SEA Games for 3 months. And then do the SEA Games, and then move on to like my next role professionally. And how I approached the 2019 SEA Games, I said, look, if I'm going to do it,
I'm all in.
Once in a lifetime again, I'm all in. So let's go full gas and let's throw the kitchen sink at it, right? And do it full time and as well as I can.
And you got a bronze, right?
I did get a bronze
in the Criterium.
In the Criterium, and I was actually 4th in the road race as well. Yeah. So the funny thing you said that, because I, if you asked me before the SEA Games, look, that SEA Games, you said, look, you can come out from the SEA Games 3rd and 4th, a bronze and a 4th after the SEA Games. Will you sign on the dotted line? I'll be like, sign me up straight away, right? Like, man, it's a bloody medal, right? How awesome is that? But then I actually went away from the SEA Games feeling like I lost 2 gold medals. Because
you were it was like right there, right?
Yeah, I was literally in the final move for both the SEA Games and both the Criterium and the road race. But due to the lack of racing know-how, right, and some tactical mistakes on my part, physically I was right up there with the best guys.
Yeah.
In fact, I was probably a bit too strong for my own.
So you feel like something that you did that you didn't get the goal, not something that they did that got them the goal.
Yeah, you can't. I think it's not black and white like that, right? I think they are class riders in their own right. But I think if I was smarter back then, knowing the lessons I knew in hindsight now, I would have played differently, and maybe the chance it would have turned out differently.
Yeah.
But basically,
then it's so hard to second guess.
I don't want to take anything away from them, because I think the riders who won and placed above me were amazing riders in their own right. But basically, I walked away feeling as if I lost 2 gold medals rather than winning a bronze and a 4th place.
So that gave you the fire to go even harder for the next SEA Games.
So it gave me the fire to actually then go back to my to then bite the bullet and say, look, I want to actually continue this full-time cycling thing.
Yeah.
Because I think that it was I think the first time ever that the SEA Games were back to back because of COVID.
Yeah.
And if it was
also the turnaround's only a year, right?
So correct. Instead of 2 years.
Keep that form, add to the form, hopefully get higher and come back.
Yeah, exactly. And basically, what also surprised me was that despite me only training full time for 3 months, I was already at a physical level as with the other best guys in the region who were like full-time professionals, and they've been racing the entire time when I was working even during COVID within the Thai in Thailand, in Indonesia, in Malaysia, they was still doing their own domestic races.
Yeah.
So I was a bit surprised actually at the level I got to, and that gave me the impetus to want more. And I decided to put off my job offer, and which was a bit scary at that point, because as you would know, in Singapore, sport is always seen as a hobby, and this is actually a can of worms. I'm not sure how deep you want to go into this, but I'm basically giving up a amazing opportunity both financially and career wise, to basically
gamble on
sport, which hasn't happened, and it's something like viewed as like a passion project.
Yeah.
But I obviously felt differently, and I just didn't want to have any regrets.
Yes.
In whatever I did, right? Because actually my wife helped me make this decision. She said, look, at the point when we were mulling about it, she said, look, if you didn't kick on and do this next SEA Games, would you actually regret it? 10 years down the road, right?
Yeah.
Or 20 years down the road, or when you look back, and I was like, yeah, I'll regret it. And she's like, then you should do it. And I must actually give full credit to her for supporting me.
It's not easy. She's now got a newborn baby, and then she's
she works full time.
Yeah, you're not contributing financially as much as you used to.
Correct. Yeah. So she and I could only have done this because of her.
Yeah.
Literally because of her. So I decided to kick on and do the 2023 SEA Games in Cambodia, and as a full-time athlete, and to just give it my 100%, and to whatever the result, I could just walk away and say, look, I've done all I could, and there's no regrets.
So how did that go? You didn't get a medal?
I didn't get a medal. I finished 5th and 6th.
Okay.
I was...
So still close, you're close again.
Yeah, man, that was... it pains me when I talk about it now, but... I'll leave it as I was in the final in both the Criterium and the road race. I was in the final move, and I was and I missed out the medal. I lost it in the sprint for the Criterium, and in the road race, basically I went for a bit of a Hail Mary at one kilometer to go, because I think they were the other riders were better sprinters than me.
Yeah. So it's like if you can either ride them to the line and be out sprinted, or you can take your chance.
I'll take a chance and basically count on the hesitancy of the riders, of the other riders, on them wanting to keep their legs fresh for the sprint and letting me go, and then in a couple of seconds time I get too big a gap to close, and then I could have held on. Which I did, but I was basically, so I went with a K to go in the road race. It was just 8 of us left, it was and it was a wet rainy day around Siem Reap, Cambodia. There was 1K to go, and I went full gas, and then railed this corner in the wet, and I remember telling myself I crash, but I just have to go as hard fast as I can around this corner. Hopefully the other riders miscalculate and they will crash, or they would hesitate and brake more than I did, and I held it upright and I just went as hard as I could to the line. And then I just remember I could see the meter markers coming down, 700, 600, 500, and I just said, don't look back, just keep going as hard as you can. Head down. And for some reason, this rider from Vietnam who ended up not getting a medal at all, because he's also not a sprinter, he decided to just bring the bunch back towards me. So I just took a quick look back to see him putting his head down, chasing me, and I couldn't understand. But I was like, look, just keep going. So it's fine.
He was doing the same thing. He knew he couldn't sprint, so he was probably
but
his own Hail Mary.
Correct. Yeah, but basically he was just working for the sprinters in the end, right? Because he's just dragging the sprinters to the line. And then with 300 to go, I saw the front view of Amirul, who was the Malaysian guy who ended up winning, poke past me, and then he just came past me. And then
it's so hard when you're cycling, when someone passes you, it's too late.
And I was just my heart rate was 186, and I was just lactate everywhere, and basically just finished sixth. And the Vietnamese guy who decided to close the gap and work for the other guys, basically he finished fourth just in front of me. So I to this day I could understand why he decided to sacrifice his own chances for the other sprinters, but it's what it is. It's what it is. Anyway.
That sucks.
Okay.
So you trained more for that, and you came just short again. It wasn't the training, or it was
no.
Was it a harder race? Was it more hills, or was it?
I think no. It was actually pancake flat. So for a bigger guy like me, it will suit me, right? But that's the thing about cycling, and that's what makes it so beautiful, right? It's a sport that requires extreme endurance. Your physical performance must be at its peak. But you also need to have the tactical know-how, and you need the race to almost pan out in your favor with the different moves you do tactically. I always believe you make your own luck. You don't create your luck. In terms of you create your luck with preparation, with obviously being as fit as you can and as tactically astute as you can. But as it turns out, I believe I was as fit as anyone, or even fitter than, or as good as anyone, or physically as fit as anyone on the start line. But basically, with the how the race panned out tactically, as a team in Singapore, Team Singapore, and this is me being honest, I think we basically as a team we were not on par with the other countries, on the region, Indonesia, Thailand, basically Philippines. So to illustrate this point, right, the three in both the Criterium and the road race, right, the three medal winners in both events, the nations who had medals in both events, they basically had more than one rider in the final break. Whereas I was the only rider for Singapore.
Isolated.
I was isolated in the final break. So basically, they could.
You had to cover everything.
I had to cover everything. Their teammates could actually work for them in their favor, and basically they just had more cards to play, right? Whereas as a single card to play, you are literally you just burning matches, and they had more matches to burn.
And this is they had 2 packs of matches to burn.
Exactly. Exactly. And this is not I'm not putting, I'm not deriding the efforts of my teammates. I think they did their best, but circumstantial maybe. But for example, Riyadh was sick during the SEA Games as well. He actually made the main break of the day in a road race with me, but he was sick, and I think he did as much as he could, and he woke up that morning, his sinuses were clogged, so I think he just covered as many moves as he could for me, and then he popped with like 90 k's to go, and so I think he did his 100% best. But the truth is that cycling is a numbers game, on a tactical standpoint,
and a team game,
and a team game, as you know, as in the biggest sense of that word. It's really a team sport, and maybe not many people actually fully understand that word. But basically, when it comes down to the finale, you have less numbers to play with. You just don't. Your chances of getting a result would just be statistically less.
Yeah, and just for context, normally a sprint would be the last 300 meters, for example, right?
Yeah.
And you did it from 1,000 meters out.
Yeah.
Just hope for that. It really was a Hail Mary.
Yeah, I actually did the same move before in one of the regional races with running for Singapore at the Tour of Siak, and actually that paid off.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, actually, that became a bit of my signature move, which now thinking back.
So anyone in that previous race?
Because I won so emphatically that stage, right? Basically, I won that stage, and I think the regional riders noticed me doing that.
So the same people in that race were up against you again,
correct.
And they knew that you'd done it before.
Correct.
So they marked you for it.
So maybe I shouldn't be the one-trick pony, right? So they but it worked. It can work, but the circumstances have to be right. And in cycling, you have to be. It's always a bit of a gamble, and it's very tactical. And you just have to play to your strengths. And know your weaknesses, and try to capitalize on hesitancy, and make use of your teammates, and get the best possible result.
So regional races, right? How many regional races have you done? Which is your favorite regional races, and like the one in Thailand? I think there's a bunch of them that you've done, and
favorite. Wow. Okay. I always like riding in Thailand. I have done races in Thailand from a club level to a pro level, a Conti level. In fact, the Tour of Thailand is coming up for this year's edition, and I think I always enjoy Thailand because the hospitality is amazing, food's amazing. As riders, they treat you super well. They would not put you through crazy transfers. You literally finish the stage and you ride to the hotel. It actually makes a big difference as a rider, because I did a race in Indonesia, and this is nothing against Indonesia. I love the Indonesians, but this is the Tour of Singkarak in 2019 when I was preparing for the 2019 campaign for the SEA Games. We did this 8-stage race in Indonesia. The region's called Singkarak, and every morning, right, we were up at 5 in the morning, jump on the bus
to get to the start line.
And a 3-hour transfer to the start line. Race 6 hours on the bike, jump back on the bus, ride 3 hours. Back in the bus was 3 hours to the hotel, and you're in bed at like 10 o'clock, and you're up at 5.
Do the same thing next day.
Crazy.
I think a lot of pros like Tour Down Under for that reason, because it's like in Adelaide, and each stage starts at the same spot, so they stay in the same hotel, same bed for the whole week.
And this is not some kind of a luxury coach you're in, we're in this little minivan, and we're just cramped up, and it's hot, and we're just like so dehydrated from the race.
Car sick.
You can't stretch your legs, and then it's Indonesia, the roads are windy, and the van is just railing the corners as it goes up the mountains and down the mountains, and you're like, oh my, just get me there, I'm so tired. So we're going to experience good stories after that.
So 2025, there's a SEA Games.
Thailand, actually.
Have you hung up boots, or if Shane calls and says, "Hey, we've got a spare spot, Riyad's injured, can you come and do it again?" Would you?
I don't know, man.
Would you say yes or?
We'll see. I promised my wife that this 2023 won't be the last one.
Once in a lifetime.
I just said the last time. But I think a lot of it will be circumstantial as to where I am in life and where I am professionally, and the stars have to align. I think
you just started a business, right? I
started a business,
It takes up a lot of headspace and a lot of time.
Yeah, and less time on the bike as well. But I think it's kind of it's seasonal, right? In terms of your life journey. So I think whether it's on and off the bike, we go through different phases, and whether I do the 2025 SEA Games or not depends on things around non-cycling related. That whether the stars can line that way. So at this point, I'm taking a step back from cycling competitively. But who knows? We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tour de France Criterium, right? Last year, not last year.
The WWE of cycling.
Yes.
Let's just put it there. Out there.
The first year it was on 2022.
Yeah.
It was on the floating platform. I remember I was sitting there. I was with my son. It was stinking hot, and there was no shade for anybody. You were off the front from the gun, and for like 20 out of the 40 laps or however many laps it was, you were.
I think I was out the front the entire race.
Yeah, How was that?
Got yelled at
talk us through that whole experience.
Got yelled at by Kev a few times. He yelled at me both years. This last year and the year before.
Yeah.
No, it was an amazing experience, man. It's you're just literally riding and racing with it's actually not a race, right? So to speak, to put it.
Also, the first year I was on, Jonas beat Chris Froome in the sprint. Okay, so I don't consider that to be a real finish, right? It seems like it's too, like if Cavendish is in the race, those two are never going to win. But last year, Jasper beat Cav and Sagan in a sprint, which seems more plausible, right?
Yeah. So I think, it's an exhibition race. Let's put it that way. Yeah. And
no one's going to take risks.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but just being able to ride side by side with the biggest stars of the sport, right?
Yeah.
And just connecting with them on a human level is actually pretty surreal.
Yeah.
Both, just seeing them in a hotel, talking to Jonas Vingegaard and Cavendish.
So they're on your speed dial now. You text Cam and say, "Hey, I just had a barbecue.
No.
This is what I had for dinner."
No, not at all. But it's cool to see, right? I mean, the race itself is hard, right? Like I'm not putting it.
You're 45 average.
Yeah, exactly, right. 45.6 average, right? And it was super hot, and it's not a walk in the park. It's not a recovery, right? Like the guys are going hard, right? Because to ride at speed, you have to go at a certain.
And you intensity. Were off the front. You were like 500 meters off the front of a 45 average, right?
Yeah, I was in good nick then, and I just wanted to give the home crowd a little bit to cheer about, because Singapore, right? We gotta.
That was awesome.
Yeah, we gotta show the pro riders how it's done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great experience, man. Like, and I, just little things that you interact with the riders, the Kev and Jonas, and this year was Pogacar and Sepkus.
Sepkus, yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing I took away from that was actually just how real they are, if that makes sense, like how human they are, and they're just the epitome of the human race, right? In terms of what you can do on the bike, but just to talk to them and connect with them on a human level, you just realize how normal they are, and how genuine they are. And it's quite nice to actually experience that. They are basically the gods of cycling, right?
Yeah.
But when you talk to them, especially if you take away all the lights, the camera, and you just talk to them like normal humans, you talk like how you would with a normal human being, and not try to shove a camera in their face and ask for an autograph. They just want to know more about Singapore and what the city is like. Yeah, it's like any other.
It's like when you came back from Australia, you want to be human again, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure they want to do that too.
And I think also that's why they are such, like Kev is chasing this 37 Tour de France win, right?
Yeah.
But I think at the core of it, he goes through the same emotions and experiences that normal human beings like us feel.
Oh my god, the Kev documentary is really powerful.
Exactly.
Like,
and I think that's why he's such a loved figure, because people can connect with him that way. Like he came back from Epstein-Barr disease, and he was at the top level of the sport. He crashed down. He got robbed at knife point, and basically, and even this additional year he's doing, where he had to he was going to retire last year, and then he had to basically
broke his collarbone during the race he was supposed to win,
and basically having to then wanting to continue, and he said openly during the press conference that actually he would rather hang up his bike, right? And he had to he wanted to spend time with his family after hanging up his bike and just being a normal human again, but having to sacrifice and being away from his family so much to kick on for another year, and knowing what he's missing out in terms of his spending time with his kids. I think it's something that us normal human beings, whether you are working on a normal job, or a little bike rider like me who wants to go for this SEA Games medal can really relate to.
Yeah.
And that's why I think so many people are actually gunning for him,
Yeah.
right? And wanting him to break this record because they're inspired by what he's going through. And same with cyclists as well. If you know, the underdog, right? We love the underdog story.
The guy that wasn't supposed to win and then he won. That's great.
Pretty much. So yeah, it was great. It was great. Good to just interact with them and ride beside them and just love the experience and yeah.
Second time around, last year it was a better location. I feel it was for spectators a better location.
Yeah.
Was it practically the same, or was it a better course? Do you think, or?
I think it was harder, and I think this is also what the pro riders actually said. I think they felt last year's course was harder, purely because of the double hairpin. So you have one hairpin coming out of the Fountain of Wealth.
Yes, and then you have one at Fullerton.
So you have to break. If you are the top 5 or 10 wheels going in, you'll be okay because you take a smooth line. You don't have to brake so hard. But if you're in the second half of the bunch, you're literally doing a full gas sprint out of the corner.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And you do it enough times.
Elastic band, right? You compress and then you stretch and you compress and you stretch.
Yeah, you do it enough times, you just stuffed up.
Because you didn't stay off the front. You did for a little bit, but
I tried to.
It wasn't near the same as before.
I wasn't as fit. Like I said, this is not a walk in the park. Like you literally have, and this probably shows how fit those riders are.
So they're riding at their off-season.
They're riding hard in the off-season mode,
and you're riding hard in your on-season mode, and it still doesn't need a lineup.
Yeah, exactly right. So and even the way it's not even the fitness, even the way they move within the bunch, their technical skills, go around corners, they just do it so much smoother.
Yeah, they're not afraid to bump shoulders.
So basically, I wasn't as fit, so I tried to put on the best show I could, but in the end, I did as much as I could, and then took a bit of an easy lap towards the end just to enjoy the experience.
So we'll be back next year. This year.
This year. Wow. I don't know, man.
Because you're officially not cycling for Singapore anymore, right?
Well, I'm still in the national training squad.
Okay.
But I
remember after that race you posted saying that.
Yeah, I think it's my last outfit, so to speak. Because obviously, if you're not going to be training as hard, you're not going to be as fit. Then obviously, more deserving riders will step up, and they should be given the opportunity.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. If I'm given the opportunity again, I would. But at the same time, I would love for the younger riders to experience what I experienced, and take my spot and go out there and fly the flag high.
Yeah. Because once in a lifetime, again, 3 times in a lifetime, and then Tour de France is 2 times already, so give someone else a chance.
Yeah. And I think it's a cool experience, and I think if they deserve to experience it, they should experience it.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
So what next for you? You just started the business.
Yeah.
Are you training as much as you used to? It doesn't sound like
no, definitely not.
So what's your training load now? 10 hours?
No, not even that, man. I do a bit of running now, just because it's just easier with time, and you get a better workout just running. So I do a bit of running, and I just.
So if you start swimming, you can do a triathlon.
No way, man. I suck enough at one sport. I'm not going to expose myself.
Well, that's what triathletes are. They're mediocre at 3 sports, so they do it.
Yeah, no. I just run just because it's just easier to get a workout in. And I still enjoy riding my bike, and I try to get out a little bit on the weekends and maybe during the week. I'm trying to just be able to. I'm a hobbyist now, right?
Yeah. Is there a go-to group ride that you do every week, or
I try to do
10 people that you ride with every week?
I try to do the crazies every Sunday. I need to get back into it. I've not been doing it as at all probably for the last couple of months because of the business and how busy I am with everything else in life. But I hope to get back there, and I think it's the best breeding ground we have for riders in terms of the intensity and the environment within a group ride. So
it's like the 5 o'clock Longhouse ride. It used to be like that. It was
and also because they changed the course, so it's a little more challenging. So it helps with the fitness, but it helps also with the younger riders trying to get as close to a race environment as they can on open roads safely, of course.
Yes.
And I hope to possibly pass on whatever I can, passively or actively. And also it's just an excuse for me to just not get fat and
of course,
and to keep myself
escape from the house
in a presentable manner.
A week.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope to get back out there and I'll just do it as much as I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So my last question is, how do people get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok?
Yes. I'm not on TikTok yet. I am trying to start it for my practice, but I have to learn the ropes with the way the algorithm works and how to film in portrait and so on and so forth. I just go by my name on Instagram. It's Boon Kiak.
Okay.
I used to be called Boonzuka, and I'm told that's a more popular handle that I should revert to. I'm still thinking about that, but it sounds a bit wankerish to me. But not sure why I put it up. But no, it's just my handle. Just
so Boon with a K and then your last name.
Yeo, right? Yeah. And then my practice is called PodiatryQuest, so you can find us on PodiatryQuest as you.
So if anyone's got foot problems, come to you.
Yep, I'll be very happy to help. And I'm just busy with the business, so just trying to get the business off the ground and to get it up, and we'll see what happens with life after that.
Cool, man. And I was serious about coming back next time and doing a sort of foot-related podcast because
we'd love to.
We do medical ones. We had doctors on before, and we get you and Belinda to talk about cyclist feet or runner's feet. Or
sure, man. I think being a podiatrist and talking about feet is something I'm also really passionate about. I love talking about it. It's not a fetish.
But one quick thing about feet in cycling is that people copy shoes, people copy bikes, people copy helmets, glasses, but no one can copy what's inside the shoe because no one sees it and there's no sponsors involved. So it's like really unknown. So if we sort of unwrap that a little bit, I think it'd be a really good.
And everyone's foot shape is different, right? Yeah. So basically, what works for you might be different for me, and
so I can't even recommend something to you because your foot says you might have flat feet or my
exactly. So you can't take my insole and wear it and then expect the same performance result, right? You need something fairly bespoke depending on where you're at and what you need. And as you know, as a bike fitter, the foot positioning plays such a big role in your performance on the bike, comfort, but also your overall fit.
Yeah, when the feet hurt, you can't ride very well.
Exactly. And I think if I'm not wrong, if you start the bike fit, bike fitters always start from the feet, right? The cleat position.
The bottom to the top.
Exactly right. So there's a good reason for that. I'm sure you can definitely attest to that. So so that's something that I'm passionate about, and I hope to lend my passion towards my business and help as many people as I can.
Cool, man. Thanks very much for your time.
No worries,
and I'll catch you on the road again.
It's a pleasure, mate. Thank you.